about metals and non-metals in details. We all like to be organized, isn't it? The same we do for elements. I mean classifications. We classify elements into three main categories. There are 93 metals, 18 non-metals and 7 metalloids. In this class, we will focus on metals and non-metals. But how do we differentiate between both of them? Yes, by their properties, of course. So let's learn about their physical properties and chemical properties in detail. Let us study about the physical properties of metals first. Metals possess various properties such as they are lustrous, they are malleable and ductile, they have high melting point, are good conductors of heat and electricity, and also metals are sonorous. Let's see all these properties one by one in details. First of all, conductivity. Metals are generally good conductors of heat and electricity, and silver is regarded as the best one. As we all know that non-metals are just the opposite, so yes, they are mostly bad conductors. We have exceptions everywhere, and here also. Graphite and diamond are non-metal, but they are good conductors. Next, we have high melting point. Melting point is the temperature at which a substance will melt. Now metals have high melting point and tungsten is the metal with highest one. Then we have exceptions also. Yes, gallium and cesium are the metals with low melting point. Then we have luster. Most of the metals in their pure state have a shiny appearance and this is called luster. So silver is the shiniest of all the metals. And exceptions are diamond and iodine, which are non-metals but they are lustrous. Sonority. This means that metals produce a ringing sound when we strike them. And yes, as we have exceptions everywhere, here also mercury is the exception. Mercury is the only metal which is liquid in the room temperature. Next property is malleability and ductility. The ability of a material to be beaten into sheets is called malleability, and ductility is the ability of a material to be drawn into wires. Metals are malleable and ductile. The exceptions are zinc, arsenic and mercury. Understand the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. Firstly, we would see how metals behave in different chemical reactions and then we would see about the non-metals' behavior in the same. First up, with oxygen. Metals plus oxygen gives metallic oxide which is basic in nature. Active metals like sodium and potassium reacts instantaneously with oxygen, whereas moderately reactive metals like magnesium, aluminium, zinc, tin and lead reacts with oxygen only after heating. The least reactive metals such as silver, gold and platinum doesn't react with oxygen at all. Next, we have water. Metals plus H2O gives metal hydroxide or metal oxides along with the evolution of hydrogen gas. Highly reactive metals such as sodium and potassium reacts explosively with water, whereas magnesium reacts with hot water, zinc and iron reacts only with the steam, and least reactive metals like gold, silver and platinum doesn't react with water. Now we have acids. Metal plus acid gives salt plus hydrogen gas. Generally, a metal which is more reactive than hydrogen displaces hydrogen from acid, leading to the formation of salt with the evolution of hydrogen gas. For example, zinc plus hydrochloric acid gives zinc chloride and also hydrogen gas. At the last, we have bases. Only some metals react with bases to form salt and hydrogen. Now, this is because metals have positive valency and therefore they are electron donors, and same to the bases. But some metals which are amphoteric in nature, for example zinc and aluminium, can react with bases also. This is because they behave like both acid and bases, and therefore they are called amphoteric. Then we have the chemical properties of nonmetals. Nonmetals react with oxygen to form acidic oxides, which when dissolved in water form acids, and nonmetals do not react with water, and therefore the highly reactive nonmetal phosphorus is stored in water. Next, we know that nonmetals react with bases to form salt, and they do not react with acids because nonmetals are electron acceptors, and same to the acids, therefore no reaction takes place. So that was how the metals and nonmetals react in different chemical reactions. Now let's understand how metals are extracted from their ores. So let's go one by one. First of all, the metals which are less reactive, like silver, gold and platinum. Now these metals are generally found in their pure form in nature. So there is no need of some special processes to extract them. The second is the metals with medium reactivity, like magnesium, aluminium, zinc, iron, tin and lead. Now these metals may be found in the sulfide ore or carbonate ore. Now there are two main processes which helps them to purify. The first one is roasting, which occurs in the presence of air or oxygen, and the second one is calcination, which occurs in absence of oxygen. Now at the last we have metals which are highly reactive. Now these metals are extracted from their ores by the help of electrolysis, which we will study in upcoming chapters. Have you ever wondered why these properties hold true only for metals and not for non-metals? Here I am to answer your why questions. So for answering all our questions, the first thing we need to know is that metals have positive valency. In simple words, they have some extra electrons in their outermost shell which they can easily get rid of. Now, as the electrostatic force in the outermost shell is very less, these electrons may get displaced due to the pull from the nearby kernels. Now what is a kernel? A kernel consists of the nucleus, which has the neutrons and the protons along with the electrons around it, except the valence electron, which is nothing but the electron in the outermost shell. So eventually these electrons will get delocalized and they will be flowing all through the surface of metal. And this explains why metals are good conductor of electricity. It's because these free electrons act as the charge carriers, and it makes the metals good conductors of heat and electricity both. The next thing is that metals are hard and they have high melting point. This is because the sea of electrons acts as a glue and it helps the metal withstand the outer pressure. The next thing we know is that metals are malleable and ductile. That means they can be converted into sheets and drawn into wires. Now, this is because of the same phenomena only. The sea of electrons protects the metal from breaking apart, and even though the atoms are arranged in a linear manner, yet it won't break, making the metal malleable and ductile also. Next thing we know is that metals are lustrous. That means they are shiny, but non-metals are not. But why is this? Let's see. The metals have free electrons, as we know. So they move freely, I mean, they continuously goes up and down, making the light reflect back, and therefore it explains that why metals are shiny. And that's all.